Well, good morning. I am here today with Peter Askey. I hope I said that right.
Yes, you did.
On Firefighter Nation Spotlight. And Peter, you are with Ricochet Gear Manufacturing, and that's a name that many people haven't heard before. So tell me about me. Tell me about you guys. Tell me where you guys are from. You guys are East Coasters, so that's something special to me.
Yeah, Ricochet is headquartered in Philadelphia. We just have one facility. It's here in Philadelphia. We manufacture everything at our one location. And we've been around since 1999. We started off doing EMS and technical rescue gear. And in 2000, and I think it was 2012, we got our first set of structural fire gear sold. It took a while to develop it. And we spent a lot of time talking to firefighters and asking what they liked and what they didn't like about their current structural gear. And we learned a lot. And we developed a gear we call Maximum Mobility. And it's a nice set of structural gear that fits very well and really allows the firefighters to move and do their work without, being impeded by their gear and having extra stress because of the gear that they wear.
That's something kind of super special to me. Being a smaller female and being able to move in gears is kind of a big deal. Talk to me about, you guys are doing a gear giveaway this June. Touch on that really quickly.
Sure. It started the last couple of years. We've done a regional giveaway associated with the Philadelphia Phillies and Kyle Schwarber, who's one of my favorite baseball players. I'm a baseball fan at heart, and to be able to combine both my passion at work with my passion in baseball was a lot of fun. So we gave away 30 sets of gear this year to 3 local departments in the Philadelphia area. And it's all non-PFAS gear. It's, we're trying to promote, doing things that are the best we can for the firefighters. And so we're giving away free gear. And we invited them all to an event last night with Kyle Schwarber, and it was a lot of fun. They all had fun. They all enjoyed getting their picture taken with Kyle and getting to talk about their fire department, with a bunch of other firefighters. So it was really fun. And so once we started this local one, we decided we really should do this nationally. And so this year we've started a new giveaway that's going to go across the country. We're going to give 5 sets of structural fire gear to 6 departments across the country. And what we've asked the departments to do is just tell us a little bit about themselves. Why do they need the gear? What are their practices now about, having 1 or 2 sets of gear? We just ask a little bit of information, and then we ask us to write us a paragraph or 2 about, why they deserve this gear. And that's the best part for me. I get to read all those and hear the stories of different fire departments. And we take that into account when we decide, which groups we should put together, and then we pull them out of a hat. It's a lot of fun.
It's summertime and I normally have a baseball cap on because of the humidity. And I specifically don't have one on today because it's always a Red Sox cap. And our last meeting you commented. So out of respect for the guests, I didn't have one on. You mentioned that the gear that you gave away was PFAS free gear. That's kind of the hot button topic around the nation right now. Everybody's really, really trying to get a set of gear out there, but PFAS-free gear does come with its own special limitations. And I think that's a conversation that I'm not hearing enough. So let's talk about that. What's the shelf life of PFAS-free gear?
Well, it's hard to really give it an exact number, but PFAS has been taken out of the outer shell of the thermaliner for a number of years now, so that isn't new. The newest thing that's going to come out with a new standard and is now available is that the moisture barriers are also now PFAS free as PFAS free as you can be. I mean, it's very difficult to have 0 PFAS in anything given how much there is in the environment. But once you start taking out PFAS from the shell and the thermaliner, what happens is the water repellency that we used to have doesn't work quite as well. And it may keep water out, but it won't keep oils and other fuels out of your gear. And it deteriorates the gear a lot faster than it used to. So we're seeing a lot of departments and there's a lot of testing going on by different ISPs that are doing cleaning and saying that gear is just not as easy to clean and it's damaging the outer shells. So they're not lasting as long as they used to. Obviously, it's only been 3 or 4 years since they've started using these new water repellency finishes that are non-PFAS. So we don't have a lot of data, but it does show that things are wearing out a lot faster than they used to.
You mentioned earlier, we're going to backtrack a little bit, that you guys have this new mobility gear. That's something super special to me because when I first came in, it was, you were looking like the Michelin Man running around.
Yeah.
With your gear, it was so thick and padded, and just standing still, you were getting hot. But most importantly to me, the mobility was just, I feel like I can safely say this, that time has passed, pure trash. You had no, even crawling, the pants were pulling and all that. Talk to me about the structure and the science that went into this new gear and what makes it so different and special.
Well, really what we were looking at is how firefighters move. And when you're wearing an air pack, you're really restricted through here. And a lot of the fire gear that we'd seen in the market didn't really have the ability to move in this direction. It felt like you were tight. So we added a biswing, a true biswing in the back of the garment that went through all 3 layers, and it gave you the mobility this way. And we also added sort of a one piece of fabric that starts at your hand and goes all the way down to the bottom of the jacket. It's an underarm gusset, and it's got shape to it, and it allows the garment to, it keeps your cuffs where they're supposed to be when you're working over your head. And when you're reaching over your head, your jacket doesn't pop up and expose your chest or your midsection. So we really focused on making sure the gear covered the person properly, but also moved when it was supposed to. That was what we did on the jacket. On the pant, we spent a lot of time on the knee and actually built a biswing into our knee to just take the tension out of lifting your leg. I mean, the pants are heavy enough, and if they're wet, they're even heavier. So you just want to eliminate as much stress as you can and make the motion as easy as possible. And what we found after we did that is if you're going up a ladder or up a set of stairs, it's much easier to move your leg. You're not fighting against your gear. You're just fighting the weight that you normally have to carry. And if you're crawling with this new knee design, your pant doesn't inch up on your boot and expose your calf or your ankle. So it's really, those are the things that were really unique about our gear. Some of the things have been copied, some of them, I don't mind that. I don't mind being copied when it's to help firefighters. So, go ahead, copy what we're doing. I think it's great.
I think everybody can relate to at least in one set of gear in their lives, looking like the kid from A Christmas Story with I can't put my arms down when you're wearing a pack, because it's true. You can't, the pack pulls up and you can't move within the arm. Sorry, that's a mic, within the shoulder and chest area. Yeah. And it's incredibly frustrating when trying to reach for something. So your design to me was just something that was so special. Being a person who I can't afford to have gear limitations, right? I'm only 5'7", so I need all the stretch out space I can get. And that dovetails nicely into the new women fit that you guys are doing. You guys are doing something very unique with how you're doing that, and that's you guys are actually doing a survey of women first.
Yeah, I think we learned from our first round when we went to talk to firefighters. We learned a lot, and I think if you ask, you're going to get good information. So we'll complain all day long. That's right. We have a female firefighter, a former female firefighter who works for us down in Florida. That's where we started the questionnaire and started to talking to folks in those markets and just sort of getting feedback on what areas of the gear that were the most concerning to women when they got gear. Did they actually get a women's cut, or did they get a men's cut that was sort of adjusted for them? And we found, we're early in our research. We're going to do a national survey and try to get as much information as we can before we make any decisions on how we're going to change our gear. But the focus is on, how the waist fits, how the rise fits, so that, most gear, standard gear is much too tall in the waist for women to wear. And we know that, but we want to understand the details of that and how we can make it fit better. Our current women's cut gear is really just an angle cut at the waist of the jacket and a little extra room in the hips. And that's just not enough. And we've got to figure out better ways to do that. We also have to look at the size of the jackets. The length from the center back is normally 32. On a woman, it usually has to be shorter, and all the features that you have on your garment need to still fit and operate and work. And it's really difficult to make that happen. So we're trying to make sure that our designs you'll have the pockets that you need. You'll have all the radio pockets and the hooks, and everything will be accessible on your gear, even if it's smaller.
you said something that made me almost snort laugh, which was, you were making men's gear just smaller. And up until probably about 2 or 3 years ago, my gear stays in the rig to get dressed in because
Yeah.
it's men's gear that's smaller. So the crotch of the turnout pants, falls midway down my thighs. So it's almost like this waddle. I've lost half of my leg to get in the rig. So it was just better and safer to get dressed and faster in the rig, and then just literally jump, which then destroys your knees out of the rig. So the fact that you guys are just polling and surveying is something so amazing to me. So you guys can get the right product. And that is something that really struck me about you guys is you guys are very feedback oriented and very much into the just practical detail of helping firefighters move. That's not something that you necessarily see everywhere. What was it that really set you out on that journey and made you realize, hey, we've got to do better and be unique in these ways? Because it's got to be more time consuming and not as cost effective to be that good with the details.
It's interesting. When we first started making gear, we were making EMS and tech rescue gear, and all of our customers were small. So we were having, 10 sets was a large order for us, and they were all different. They wanted a different color. They wanted a pocket in a different place, and we needed the revenue. So we said, well, sure, we'll do it. And we got good at sort of making custom things for whoever we could to sell product. And we did that. And then we had the challenge. Once you get those orders in-house, you have to make them. So we really had to learn how to be a good manufacturer and communicate well internally. And now we've really mastered that. So when we get an order in, we know what information we need to provide to manufacturing so that they don't make a mistake. That's the biggest thing, the biggest issue for us, right? If you give somebody a special pocket and put it in a special place and they get it and it's not there, they're not going to be very happy. So we've really learned how to manufacture sort of in the size of one. When one product moves through the factory, it could be different, and the next one coming down the line could be another color and another shape and another, configuration. And we've just worked from that beginning in the EMS side of having so much options out there and so many variables. And we've grown the business to be able to do that at a larger scale. And it's helped us when we go to, smaller volunteer departments, which is really where we started and where we grew, to be able to deliver to those guys and give them what they wanted and not just say, here's our package, buy this. It's like, what do you guys need? Where can we help you? How can we make your gear better? And with that approach, you have to be ready to make it better and you have to be ready to make it the way they want it. And we had to really focus internally to make sure we could do that. And I think that's helped us a lot.
What's the next big thing on the horizon for you guys?
Sizing is always a question. Sizing is always a challenge. And we're looking at ways to do, video sizing of people and, take a 3D sizing of a person and use that data to make sure the gear fits properly. It's tough because the technologies are all over the place and we're trying to understand if we get a scan of a person, does it really give us the data we need? And does it give us too much data? So we're working on a couple of things like that. We're also working on some online ordering processes that make it easier to see what the gear is going to look like that you're ordering. If you want to move a pocket, we want to be able to show it to you and where it's going to be in full dimension so you can tell what your gear is going to look like at the end of the day. So there's a lot of things like that we're working on to make the sale process a better experience for our customers.
So you guys have been around since 1999. What is just the new request trend or the biggest change that you've seen in the gear in 26 years?
The biggest changes, have always, I think there's a really big trend in trying to reduce the weight of the gear, trying to make it lighter, more breathable. That seems to be the trend. I do think we're seeing radios change. There used to be a radio pocket on every set of gear. Now people are wearing radios in different locations. One of the things we did with our gear, we eliminated the throat tab. So there's no throat tab in our gear. The collar comes up and it's an L shape and it overlaps enough and you can just flip it out of the way when you don't need it. So if you need to have your microphone come out of your collar, it's really simple and there's not another piece of material in your way. So, where you wear your radios, we just added as a standard feature a sway strap in the back of our gear. It's just a D-ring right in the center of your pant for folks that wear a different type of a radio and they want a strap back there to hold the radio strap. So little things like that we try to add to the gear as you go forward. As things change, you just try to adjust the gear to make sure it still works for the people that are using it.
I would ask you to tell people why it is that they should pick your gear, but the amount of detail that I've heard, especially just something as simple as having a sway strap. I wear my radio under my gear and it does the slow inch forward because there's nothing to connect it to that's rapid like that. So you guys have truly put so much detail and thought into your gear. That aside, what is it that makes you guys really stand out in your mind?
Well, I do think it's our ability to listen to the customers. I think we really care about what their mission is, and we want to make sure that we do the best by them. I think that's pretty consistent across my sales team. Everybody has that same attitude. We love to have customers visit because we always learn something when they do. They'll come in and we'll show them what we're doing. They'll say, "Oh, what about this?" And we'll show them right there on the floor. Well, yeah, we could try that, but it might not work. And we educate each other, which is really a wonderful thing. And so I really think it's our dedication to the firefighters. We want them to have a better experience wearing our gear, and we care about what they think and what they say.
So, Peter, talk to me about what you guys are doing. We've seen the NFPA standards changing. How are you guys rising to meet that challenge, and what ways have they changed that's affecting gear manufacturing?
It's a great question. The NFPA has done a nice job of maintaining sort of the minimum requirements for the fire service, and they're always looking for ways to improve the gear for us. What they've done this time is really they've made an option for non-PFAS gear, right? It's there now. There's definitions now that can help us understand what non-PFAS means, which I think was a very good addition. But there have also been many changes to the fabrics, and the fabric manufacturers have to probably re-engineer a lot of fabrics to make them work under this new standard. And it's going to take them time to do that. So hopefully the NFPA will be extending the period where we can sell under the old standard shortly. I hope they do anyway, because I don't know that we're all ready to sort of, hit the ground running with the current fabrics. But I do think, the challenges that we face now are there's a lot more testing that needs to be done on product as we go into this new standard. And then every year it'll have to be retested, testing to see how much PFA is in a particular product. It has to happen every year, and we have to add up. So if you have an outer shell, a thermaliner, a moisture barrier, and a cuffing material, you have to have them all tested and then add up how much parts per million of PFAS there are. And if it's under a certain level, which is 100, then you can say you're non-PFAS. So it's just there are things like that are different and now going to be more challenging every year to make sure you hit that non-PFAS standard. They didn't eliminate the PFAS moisture barriers. They still exist, but you have the option now of having a label that says it's non-PFAS or one that doesn't. I think it's a good thing for the industry.
Time will tell. We'll see how that gear holds up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You guys put it through a lot.
Well, Peter, thank you for coming on here with me. I really, truly, as a gear user myself, appreciate just the care that you guys show, the way you design your gear with our safety, which is movement, right? Movement is our safety. If I can't move well, I'm in a bad situation. So I truly appreciate the care and respect that you guys put into your end product. And thank you so much for coming on here and talking to me.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
See you next time.